At Carl's Place, our golf simulator enclosures are designed to be user-friendly and easy to assemble. In this video, we'll provide you with some tips and tricks while we walk you through the setup process for our DIY enclosure kit. Start by organizing your frame kit by size and shape. Your DIY kit will include 1-inch fittings, all required frame tubing, a black enclosure cover, impact screen with flaps, 6-inch ball bungees, and a weighted bag attachment for the bottom of your screen. If you purchase your DIY kit without the optional pipe framing included, you'll need to purchase the EMT from a local hardware store and cut it to size. Detailed assembly instructions are also included to help guide you step by step in the assembly process. Make sure that you have your tools handy for when you begin assembling. You'll need a 1/2-inch socket wrench, a measuring tape, and at least one ladder. The first step in setting up your enclosure is to assemble the frame. Be sure to reference your specific diagram included with your kit that details the dimensions to the frame that you ordered. Before you start assembling the frame, make sure that the fitting screws are loose so that you can insert the EMT pipes without interference. Next, you'll want to connect all of the straight fittings to the appropriate EMT pipes marked on your diagram. Typically, these will be the shortest and longest pipes included with your kit. You should have 4 pipes left over that will assemble as the depth of your enclosure. Please note that if you've elected to purchase your own EMT, your frame design may vary from this example. Take note that the pipe is inserted all the way until it hits the dimple located inside the fittings. Tighten the fittings to the EMT using a 1/2-inch wrench with a 1/4 or 1/2 turn of tightening, enough to keep the EMT from being pulled apart by hand. Begin assembling the lower half of the frame. Take one of your assembled width pipes and 2 of your depth pipes and lay them out in a U shape on the floor. Your 2 included L fittings will be assembled at the front of the enclosure, with the 3-way connection fittings at the rear. Next, insert the EMT pipes for your height, and make sure the bolts on the fittings are pointed toward the rear of the enclosure. But don't fully tighten these fittings down just yet, until the top half of the frame is inserted into each fitting. Double-check that all fitting screws are tightened down, and complete the frame assembly by measuring the frame to make sure that all the dimensions match your diagram. Now that you have your frame assembled, it's time to hang the enclosure cover. Unfold the fabric enclosure cover, which should be oriented with a grounded edge aligned with the back of the frame, and all of the hook and loop strips facing towards the front and inside of the enclosure. There are 2 flaps on the upper inside corners of the enclosure cover that run the depth of the cover. Unfold these and use them to cover up the 2 upper depth pipes connecting the front and back of the frame. Wrap the cover under the bottom of the frame and secure it in place. In every application, attach the hook and loop to the center and work to the outside to ensure the best fit to the frame. Repeat the process with the flaps on the sides and top of the enclosure. At the corners, excess material should be folded in on itself and attached to keep it from hanging free. Next, attach the enclosure cover to the frame using the included ball bungee cords. Insert the loop end of the bungee into a grommet, threading it through until the ball stops. Wrap the cord loop around the frame tubing and hook it over the ball to create a loop. Wear the bungees around your wrist like a bracelet to keep both hands free for installing the bungee cords. We recommend having the ball end face inwards towards the enclosure. Now it's time to attach your impact screen to the frame. Be careful when folding your screen to keep it from touching the floor and becoming dirty. The front of the screen should be mounted with the flaps facing toward the inside of the enclosure. Start by attaching bungees in each of the 4 corners of the screen to the frame, and proceed to attach each remaining grommet. Note that each corner grommet should have 2 ball bungees going through it. One will attach to a side and the other to the top or bottom. This is where a block of wood comes in handy. Use a block of wood to keep the frame raised while you bungee the bottom of the screen to the enclosure. Working around the sides and top of the screen, cover the remaining visible frame pipes using the flaps attached to the screen. If you've purchased optional foam inserts, install them between the flaps and the frame. The remaining bottom flap is secured to the floor using the included weighted bag. Alternatively, the screen flap can be attached to adhesive-backed hook and loop secured to the floor or by attaching to any pre-existing carpeting or turf. At this point, you can install any additional add-ons to your existing enclosure setup. Adding turf to a hard floor is a great way to minimize bounce. You can also purchase a Carl's Place hitting mat to add to your enclosure. Side nets are a good option to add on to protect your space from errant shots. Carl's Place can set up any enclosure to be able to incorporate net extensions into your build. Your setup is complete, and you can begin using your new DIY golf simulator enclosure. Make sure that you keep enough space between the screen and any walls behind it to avoid causing contact. In most cases, 12 to 18 inches is enough. We recommend using new golf balls that are free from any scuffs or permanent marker to maximize the life of your screen and to keep it from marking up. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to shoot us an email, give us a call, or contact us on our website. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos on building, using, and enhancing your own golf simulator enclosure.